Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for sitting down with me. You too. We all know you originally from a memoir, Hillbilly Elegy.
Sure.
And in that memoir, in the introduction, you wrote, "I'm 31 years old and I have accomplished nothing great in my life. I'm not a senator, governor, or former cabinet secretary." So, what would Vice President J.D. Vance say to that 31-year-old J.D. Vance, having done all the things you now have today?
I don't know. I guess I'd say, man, it's been a hell of a ride the last 10 years because I just turned 41. So it's been almost exactly 10 years since the book came out. And the book was such a great blessing to me because it introduced me to all these people. And really, I think without the book, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. But, I guess what I wish I could go back and tell my 31-year-old self is, just enjoy the ride because it really has been an incredible journey these last 10 years. We've had 3 kids since that time. And I became a senator, I became a vice president. I obviously got to get a really front seat to some of the incredible things that your father-in-law is doing and has been doing over the past 7 months. So it's amazing. And I have enjoyed the ride, but I might go back and tell myself enjoy it a little bit more because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, you're proof of that for sure, right? I know. It's amazing. In the book, you talk about the tremendous adversity that you faced.
Sure.
You, in so many ways, are the epitome of the American dream and what's possible in this country. So in those moments, in those times when it really felt probably impossible and you weren't sure what the way out would look like, how did you keep going? What was it that ultimately inspired you?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you saying that. If I could go back and ask myself, what's different about me now versus the 31-year-old who wrote it, is I was probably a little bit more resentful when I was 31 years old. I sort of looked at the way that I grew up. I went to Yale Law School and I didn't have the same advantages that other people had. And there was probably a little bit of that victim mentality that had seeped in even to my 31-year-old self. And now I look at it as such a blessing because it gave me such a different perspective on, adversity. It gave me an understanding of people who are struggling. So I really do think it's such an incredible blessing, and I never take this for granted. Right? When I sit in the Oval Office with the President of the United States and we're on the call with some foreign leader, I constantly remind myself, I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm here by the grace of God and a lot of really good relatives, people who stuck by me. And you ask, how did I get through it? I think that the one thing that really helped me, I'll say 2 things. First of all, I was always a person of very strong faith. And I was raised by a grandmother who, we didn't go to church a whole lot, but she prayed every day. She read the Bible every day. And she gave me this sense that there was some purpose to this. We might not understand it. God works in mysterious ways. But there was some deeper meaning to what we were experiencing. And that gave me the perseverance to go through it. But it also just this feeling of gratitude. When I thought about my grandma, who should have been enjoying her golden years, retiring, taking things easy, but she was taking care of me. She was dealing with the various addictions and problems that were going on with her kids. I just remember thinking, even when I was a little kid, Mamaw she makes it possible. She's the person who puts food on the table. She's the person who puts clothes on my back. And it's one of the great blessings is that I had enough insight even as a teenager to recognize that I owed this person a lot. And I think that feeling of gratitude is probably one of the great gifts that I had growing up, the recognition that I needed her, that I relied on her, and that without her I wouldn't have been anywhere. And that's the one thing when I meet kids who suffer from adversity, who have tough homes, sometimes, a lot of times, much tougher lives than I had, I always remind them, try to feel gratitude. Because even if you're in the toughest possible circumstance, there is somebody in your life that is going that extra mile. If you feel gratitude towards them rather than resentment at all the people who didn't give you what they were supposed to give you, I think that makes it much easier to get through the day.
Was there one specific moment, can you go back and identify any moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to choose this direction. I'm going to choose to pursue something greater than, rather than kind of a victim mentality of sorts?
Sure. It definitely built slowly over time, but it was definitely in high school where, my grandmother would talk a lot. She was very sick. And there was this recognition that if Mamaw was the person who kind of held the family together, when she was gone, that was going to have to be somebody. Somebody was going to have to step up. Somebody was going to have to be the person who took care of people. And I kind of wanted that person to be me. I wanted to be the person in my family that other people could rely on, that other people could pick up the phone and say, hey, I need your help. Can you help me? And that was a very powerful motivator, just this recognition that, I was transitioning from being a person that relied on Mamaw to being the kind of person who other people could rely on. And wanting to be that kind of guy was a very powerful motivating force for me.
And I know you credit the Marine Corps with giving you purpose and discipline.
Sure.
I imagine you still, in this big role you have here in Washington, D.C., are using what you learned in the Marine Corps right here today as vice president.
Yeah, that's right. Well, in ways big and small, actually. It would not have shocked me if I had learned after knowing him that your father-in-law had been in the Marine Corps, because, and of course he didn't serve in the Marines, but he has a very Marine Corps style of leadership where he's very willing to delegate and he trusts certain people. And when he trusts those people, he's willing to give them a task and say, go and do it, come back to me and report in a week. Whether you're a Lance Corporal or you're the Commandant of the Marine Corps, everybody has a few people that report to them. Everybody has a critical task that they have to do. And everybody is a critical part of that chain that connects us from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. And I think that it's funny because the president really does have this attitude of, I'm going to surround myself with good people. I'm going to give clear directives. I'm going to check in, certainly, but I'm going to let my people go and do what I tell them to do and what I encourage them to do. And that sort of, I wouldn't call it a hands-off leadership style, but a leadership style that trusts the people around you very much is something I learned from the Marine Corps. And I think the greatest leaders that I've served under, that I've served with, they all have this ability to set clear guidelines, to inspire people, but also to trust people. And I think it's very hard to inspire people if you don't trust them. That's sort of two sides of the same coin. I learned that in the Marines.
They say beside every great man is a great woman.
Of course.
And I think that would apply very much to our second lady,
Yes,
to your wife, Usha.
Absolutely.
So many people look up to her. I think she's really incredible. So tell us about her as a wife, as a mom, as our second lady of the United States, and how all of this has been for her.
Yeah, so it's funny. I think she's hitting her stride a little bit because she's finding some projects that she's getting involved in. She's been very involved at the Kennedy Center. She really cares about child literacy. And so she just sort of came off the summer reading push that she's been doing for kids all across America. So she's really starting to enjoy it. But it's interesting, Usha is like she really is kind of the anchor in our family. And, when people ask like, what is it that makes you tick and what is it that makes her tick? So it's funny, I'm the more emotional one, right? I'm the one who gets fired up and super passionate about things. She's the person who's always a very even keel. So on the campaign trail, when I would read something that would get me pissed off, or like, I can't believe they said this about the president, like it's totally fake, or I can't believe they said this about me. She was always the person who was sort of even keel. She doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. She really doesn't like politics. I mean, as much as I think she shined, and a lot of people do look up to her, she never wanted this. She loves the policy side of it. She loves the job that I'm doing, but she really could do without the campaigning and without the media interviews and the fake stories and all that stuff, right? So that's one thing that's very true about her. But the attitude that she's had coming into it, obviously I appreciate it as the father of our kids, is this is really weird for the kids. This is really weird for the whole family unit. We're now surrounded by Secret Service. We live in the vice president's residence, which is amazing, by the way. And her main job, more than anything else, is just to make the kids have as normal a life as possible. She makes us do normal family stuff as much as possible. So, we were in California a couple of months ago for a fundraiser for the RNC, and she was like, well, we're going to be right next to Disneyland. Let's take the kids to Disneyland. Or, there's a coffee shop, there's a bakery in our home in Cincinnati that we really love. And she's always like, no, don't send somebody out to get it. Let's go as a family so the kids get to experience this thing, this ritual of our family that we really loved before politics, and they should continue to enjoy it afterwards. And that's how we make this tolerable for the kids. And that's how we make sure that after 4 years of being vice president, the kids, are still, they still know how to live a normal life. Like, I don't want them to get used to this. She doesn't either. And she really pushes the family to do as much family stuff as possible. And I really appreciate that.
Believe me, I can relate to that too.
Of course you can, yeah.
Yeah, we try to do the same thing, but I think it's been very refreshing, very charming, honestly, for so many people to get a little bit of insight into your family and to see you out there with your kids all the time.
I appreciate that. And, people think that it's more intentional sometimes than it is. So the first big international trip that I did, the president asked me to go and speak at this AI conference in Paris and then the Munich Security Conference. And we decided to take the kids. We were going to be gone for 5 or 6 days, so might as well take the kids with us. And, we land in Paris, and there's this like kind of what's become a famous photo of the kids in their pajamas. And they're all getting off the plane in their pajamas, and everybody's like, oh, look, the Vances are, they're letting the kids be kids, and we really appreciate that. The reality is that we had these fancy outfits picked out for them. They were on the plane, and anybody who's ever traveled internationally with kids knows they were completely zonked out. You have the French foreign minister waiting on the tarmac for us. It's cold outside, and we're like, it's going to take us 45 minutes to wake these kids up and get them off the plane if we have to dress them. So let's just put them out there in their pajamas. So sometimes it's just, again, Usha's very good at this. It's just like, let the kids be kids. We'll deal with the consequences, and we'll just have as normal of a family life as we can, of course, within the confines of being vice president.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.